Hey, it's Luke from LT Gaming, and today we're diving into some wargaming gems for the Steam Summer Sale. We just love wargames on this channel. From grand campaigns to brutal tactical battles, these are the kind of games that can eat your entire weekend if you let them. So before we deploy the first units, drop a like on the video. This will help reinforce the channel's morale before we dive straight into it. Task Force Admiral 10% off €30.59. A brilliant pick if you want something that feels genuinely different from the usual land-based wargame. Instead of pushing counters across a map, you're trying to manage carrier warfare in the Pacific, where scouting, timing, aircraft launches, and decision-making under pressure become the real battle. I really enjoyed this one. It's an absolutely excellent wargame. The full 3D presentation gives it a real sense of drama as well, letting you command from a wider tactical view or getting closer to the action, which is always appreciated. It's one of the more graphically impressive titles on the list, so if you're into that stuff, then it's one for you. It definitely feels like one of the more exciting naval wargames to buy in this sale.
Panzer Corp II, 60% discount, €15.59. One of the easiest recommendations in this genre if you want proper World War II strategy without needing a wall of spreadsheets behind you. I've jumped back into it earlier this year with the full DLC collection and it holds up remarkably well. The core is classic hex-based warfare with positioning, supply lines and all of that stuff, and it frankly has a ridiculous amount of content. The base campaign alone is substantial, while Axis operations and the newer Frontlines packs let you build out entire theatres and carry your core force across the years of war. Very accessible and plenty of room to get clever with it.
Sengoku Jidai Shadow of the Shogun, 80% off, €5.79. A turn-based, tile-based wargame that drops you into East Asia's big bruising conflicts. Mainly Japan's Sengoku era and the invasion of Korea. With battalion-scale units, named commanders and battles that feel properly grounded in terrain and positioning. As a Steam sale pickup, it's ideal if you want something you can actually learn over Christmas without it turning into a second job. Despite its age, the interface is actually pretty approachable, but the game has depth that keeps you coming back. And because it leans on scenarios, skirmishes, and user-made possibilities with its editor tools, it's a kind of wargame you can keep returning to. I'm a little bit obsessed with Japanese games right now. I'm playing Assassin's Creed Shadows and Yakuza 0 just for fun and something to do off the channel, but it's always great to return to wargames and have that Japanese flavour also. A really great pickup at this price. I definitely wouldn't miss it if I was you.
SGS Overlord, 50% discount, €12.25. This game is a good shout if you want to play through the Normandy campaign without immediately disappearing into a 400-page manual. It covers D-Day through to the breakout from Normandy with 3-day turns, brigade and divisional scale units, all of the stuff you'd expect. It is easy to learn, it runs cleanly and gives you a proper operational level campaign, whether you're trying to hold on as Germany or force the breakout as their allies. The AI admittedly is not the strongest point and combat can feel a little plain, but for a focused, approachable Normandy war game, this is a good one to pick up.
Rebel Fury, 20% off, €7.80. This is a digital adaptation of the GMT board wargame designed by Mark Herman. Built around American Civil War command at the division level on a classic hex encounter map. It includes 6 historical battles: Fredericksburg, Chancellorsville, Chickamauga, Chattanooga, the Wilderness, and Spotsylvania with an I go, you go flow. This is a top pick if you want that old school board game feel without the table setup. It's quick to get into but full of tension because every activation and pass decision matters. You've got solo play versus the AI, online PvP, and even a solitaire learning scenario with simplified AI. So it works well whether you're grinding it out alone over the holidays or setting up an asynchronous style clash with a mate. And Bob Tipton, who developed this game, is a huge supporter of the channel. We always try and back his title, so hello to you, Bob. We might see you in the comments. Make sure to check out all of his series. I believe RBM Studios Gettysburg and Waterloo are on sale. And also check out his recent release of Saratoga, an absolutely brilliant American Revolution wargame.
Armoured Brigade II, 25% discount, €29.24. This is a game for anyone who wants Cold War warfare where issuing an order is only the beginning of your problem. It's set between 1965 and 1991 and it's a real-time tactical warfare game with proper command delays, so units do not instantly respond the second you click them. At first it does feel a bit strange, but once you get used to planning ahead, positioning your HQ, and giving your formations room to work, it's a really tense little simulation. The mission generator is the star for me, keeps you coming back with new battles across huge maps, different weather, terrain, nations and force compositions. It's a proper combined arms sandbox and one that gets more rewarding the more patient you are.
The Troop, 40% off, €20.39. An absolutely superb choice if you want a Second World War tactics game that feels focused, tense and very easy to understand without becoming shallow. The Normandy setting gives every fight a nice sense of place, with infantry, armour, hidden guns and hedgerow fighting all feeding into the careful, one bad move can cost you style of turn-based combat. What makes it especially strong for 2026 is the amount of ways you can play, from story missions and skirmishes to persistent campaigns and battle group operations. And in that mode, what units survive actually matters. And look, overall, this is a very tough game and a lot of people complain about that, but I just don't get it. It's absolutely excellent. Once you understand that you have to stack the odds in your favour and it doesn't always go your way still, you start to really click with this game.
Armoured Commander II, 50% discount, €4.87. The sort of game that looks like it escaped from 1993, but don't let the ASCII style screenshots put you off. Underneath the old school presentation is a surprisingly detailed World War II tank command roguelite, where you're not simply rolling across a map deleting units. You have to manage everything from your crew to injuries, ammunition, morale, all of this stuff. With more than 50 campaigns included in the game, there's proper replay value here. It's keyboard led, runs on basically anything, supports mods, and is ideal for those World War II armour lovers out there.
Ultimate General Civil War, 60% off, €11.59. Look, this remains a fantastic buy in 2026, basically because it hits that sweet spot between accessible real-time tactics and a proper long-form war campaign. The battles are super exciting in this one, but there is also a lot going on underneath, from morale and positioning to officer development, army management, and the brutal cost of bad decisions being brought into the next engagement. It also covers the American Civil War with real scope, giving you over 50 battles across the campaign, from smaller clashes to multi-day fights that define the period. For anyone who wants a wargame that feels historical, dramatic and genuinely satisfying to command, this still holds up extremely well. Just a quick interlude to say most of you who watch the channel are not subscribed, so make sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button, because it helps smaller channels like us grow really quickly, and both me and Tom really appreciate it.
Warplan Pacific, 75% discount, €9.74. The pick for anyone who wants a proper Pacific Theatre Hex wargame, but doesn't fancy spending the first week negotiating with a rulebook. It covers the entire war from Pearl Harbor through to 1945, with land, air and naval warfare all on one massive map. What I like about this game is a classic tabletop wargame feel, but with a very smooth interface, a gentle learning curve, and a lot of flexibility to the game. It's not the most granular Pacific simulation ever made, but it's a very playable one.
Combat Mission 3 Afrika Corps, 34% off, €3.88. Combat Mission 3 Afrika Corps is proper old school tactical wargaming, but with a scope that still feels seriously impressive and will put a lot of modern games to shame. It covers Crete, North Africa, Sicily and Italy with a mix of real-time action and turn-based planning, plus 7 campaigns over 140 scenarios and a massive spread of infantry, armour, artillery and aircraft. And this game still earns its place in 2026, because it's one of those classic systems that still has real bite. It's not here to hold your hand or dazzle you with modern presentation, but if you want detailed World War II tactics, combined arms, desert warfare, and that old Battlefront design DNA, this is a focused little time capsule worth revisiting.
Combat Mission Fortress Italy, 50% discount, €29.49. This one is a pick for anyone who wants a World War II tactical combat game that feels properly messy, tense, and quite human. It takes the series to Sicily in 1943, with Americans, Germans and Italian forces fighting across dry, rocky terrain, line of sight, morale, command delays, all of these things you have to consider. It plays out in real time, but I would go for the WeGo system. Both sides plan a minute of orders and hit execute. It's a lot of fun. Now this game is pretty pricey considering how old it is, so definitely consider it in the sale if it tickles your fancy.
Scourge of War Remastered, 50% off, €9.24. This is a real-time command sim on a full 3D battlefield, built around classic line-era warfare where the challenge is issuing orders, keeping cohesion and reacting under pressure. not twitchy micromanagement. The remastered version has all the same content as the original, it's just modernised to look and run better. This one's a great wargame if you just want to experience having a massive battle and being in control of it all in solo or even multiplayer. Perfect for a holiday session if you want something slower, tenser and more about decision making than clicks per minute. This one's a real genuine gem if you're a wargamer, I can't recommend it enough.
Strategic Command American Civil War, 60% discount, €16.34. One of the best entry points into Civil War wargaming because it gives you the scale of the conflict without turning every turn into administrative paperwork. You still manage your army's generals' recruitment, research and production across the huge map of North America. You've got a clean interface and moving units feels very straightforward, so it leaves you to focus on the important bit. Not letting the AI sneak a force around your flank while you're busy admiring your perfectly arranged battle line. With 6 campaigns, official map mods, an editor, and 2 pretty good expansions, it's a very approachable Civil War game with plenty of depth once you get into it.
Command Modern Operations, 60% off, €31.94. This is Modern Warfare as a full-on cross-domain simulation and, to be honest, the ultimate wargame. You're running aircraft, ships, submarines, ground forces, satellites and strategic weapons in scenarios that span post-World War II to the present day and beyond. The scale is mostly tactical and operational, though you can run much bigger strategic situations if you want to, and it's all played on a globe interface with a modernised UI built to handle that kind of information density that this genre lives on. Okay, it looks a little bit different to other games, but to be honest, once you get into it, it all makes sense. If you do want to start with this one, I'd highly recommend you play through the tutorials and just take your time to learn. You really do have fun doing that also. Once something clicks, it's very rewarding. This is definitely a heavier sim, but if you're in the mood for a proper rabbit hole over the holidays, this is one of the deepest ones on Steam.
Sea Power, Naval Combat in the Missile Age, 20% discount, €39.19. The game that feels like the proper answer to the question naval strategy fans have been asking since Jane's Fleet Command: where has the next one been? From the lead designer of Cold Waters, this is a Cold War naval simulator built around hunting submarines, tracking uncertain radar contacts, managing everything from aircraft, missiles and carriers, and trying not to start World War III. Scenarios are excellent, the ships and aircraft look superb, and the pausable real-time controls with time compression make longer missions much easier to deal with. It's still in early access, so the UI and AI are clearly works in progress, but it already has that wonderful feeling of commanding a real task force.
WARNO, 60% off, €15.99. Where to even start with this game? I originally bought it a long time ago and I refunded it because I didn't like the fast-paced gameplay. And then in 2025 it's my most played title on Steam. I absolutely love WARNO, just setting up a skirmish and having fun. It's a modern Cold War gone hot RTS set in the summer of 1989 where you build a customised battle group from historically themed formations and throw down with NATO versus Warsaw Pact forces across Western Europe. It's an absolute monster of a holiday wargame because it gives you loads of ways to play. You've got skirmish, solo, or you can play ranked matches online up to 10v10 battles if you want some crazy chaos. But honestly, the joy for me is just creating divisions, having skirmishes, setting up little scenarios, and both me and Tom have played a lot of this in co-op. It's certainly not perfect, but it's extremely addictive if you love military hardware and have all those little books like I did when I was a kid, looking at all the details of tanks, planes, and whatever crazy military stuff I was looking at the time. I think this game gets very unfairly judged. I'm not a fast-click RTS player at all. I enjoy slower-paced turn-based titles overall, but this really is accessible now and you can set different scenarios if you just want to play a little slower. And if you're looking for a game, there's a few of us in the Discord who want to pull together a 10v10, so do join and let us know.
Hex of Steel, 50% discount, €12.49. This is one of those games that looks fairly modest at first glance, then can quietly eat up an entire weekend. It's a turn-based World War II war game covering Europe, North Africa and the Pacific with proper combined arms decision making. The real strength with it is the middle ground. It's more approachable than something like Gary Grigsby's, but gives you more flexibility and depth than the old Panzer Corp formula. You can keep things clean and classic or switch on supplies, fog of war, zone of control and really make your own life difficult. It basically will run on a potato, has a scenario editor, random battles, a lot to recommend with this one.
Field of Glory 2 Medieval 80% off, €5.79. This is still one of the easiest wargames to recommend in 2026 if you want proper medieval tactical depth without getting buried under a massive grand campaign layer. It has that tabletop feel where cavalry charges, morale, terrain and army matchups all genuinely matter. But it stays easy enough to play that you can jump into battles without feeling overwhelmed. It really is one of those kind of easy to learn, difficult to master type games. There's a huge spread of factions here, and I like taking the Anglo-Saxons and trying to beat knights from the 14th century, always a fun challenge. And then you've historical scenarios, sandbox campaigns and quick battles. It's just the kind of game that keeps giving you new matchups long after the first few hours.
Gary Grigsby's War in the East 2, 50% discount, €39.93. Now this is not a game you recommend lightly, this is one you recommend with a slightly haunted look in your eyes. Earlier this year I met a fellow content creator RAR at an event, and frankly we spent an unreasonable amount of time of the evening trying to convert everyone over to this game. The others remain unconvinced, but we knew the truth. Because yes, this is a gigantic Eastern Front war game about logistics, railways, air power, weather, commander replacements, and just the brutal reality of moving entire armies across a continent. It's not casual, it's not quick, and the manual is large enough to be used for self-defense. But if you want the most detailed operational level World War II game out there, this one is extraordinary. It's intimidating, absolutely, but once it clicks there is nothing else quite like it.